Jenny, should we podcast today?
Yes, let's podcast.
Let's drink
do it.
first. That feels better.
Cheers.
And it's kind of a nighttime podcast. What's up, happy hour?
It's saucy. Kristen's got a cup that says Kristin on it. It's a beautiful wine
I just
tumbler.
like to remind everybody how to spell my name.
I like to have
especially
a
if you're
cup
my
I
mother.
found in the back of my car.
Yeah, everybody's doing their best. Guys, we're here to, ladies, I should say, we're here to podcast at the hashtag IMOMSOHARD podcast.
Hey, and guys that took a wrong turn that we're really happy to have here.
Guys, stay on board. Nothing but boobs and butts.
Actually, stay on board too, because we're going to talk about a hot flash that I have for a gentleman later who you're going to appreciate it, dudes. Everybody's going to appreciate it.
Right, but why don't you tell them where to find us?
Oh.
And that they should like and comment and subscribe and all that.
Like, comment, rate, subscribe.
Whatever you do.
Download.
Upload. Reload.
Down low.
Get down low.
Yep, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then you can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and you can even watch the podcast on our YouTube channel.
Not YouTube, but it's called YouTube.
Listen to how well I speak. There's an hour more coming up of this.
Guys, nothing but...
Let me have more wine to loosen up
drink.
this.
It'll loosen everything up. Everything's fine.
I'm going to get comfortable because I realized from watching the YouTube
I like that
version,
you called the YouTube as though you're...
But I don't mean...
You know what? We're those
I know
people.
It's not the YouTube, but what I mean is the YouTube version of our podcast, which is the video. I just look like this like short blonde woman trying to not look fat. Like you can see the strain. It's like I'm trying to spell a difficult word. I'm like straining, trying to sit the right way. That's not true.
But if we're going to talk about the way we look, I guess I should talk about the elephant in the room, and I'm not referring to myself. I'm saying I got a new haircut. I just want to put it out there. You can't really tell with my headphones on. I'm going to keep this real short. I started my head on fire by accidentally leaning into some birthday candles, and I scorched the side of my hair.
It was the scariest video I've ever seen.
Burns. I'm totally okay. It was definitely a scary moment. But now I have what's called the Rachel Green haircut, which evidently is making a comeback.
Sure.
I like to be ahead of the trends. I just would have liked to have done it without scorching my head.
Well, I have to say, I watched that video and it's super,
I know.
Like, is like a poof that you don't expect. But it did make me wonder if I'm like AFV, we watched America's Funniest Videos.
If I could make some serious cash.
I think that you could, and I also fear I'm getting desensitized because there's all these like, it's always somebody's like a wedding,
I
like
know.
the Unity candle, and that shit goes right up.
Yeah. The veil, it's just like, and I laugh. Here's the thing I didn't know when people saw the video that there would be, I mean, I was obviously so touched by so many people being concerned if I was okay, which was so nice. But then like so many women were saying like the same thing happened to them, and I think it was traumatic, and I like didn't want to trigger anybody.
Well,
but my mom called me and she was crying, and I felt so bad.
That's what I was so scared because it cuts off. Her husband like saved her, like patted her out.
He did not pat.
He didn't.
He threw punched. A good right turn, Clyde, but I am grateful he did it. He grabbed, so I leaned over the candles. It starts on fire. If you see the video, it's literally the entire right side of my hair. And my hair is so dry because I'm not, and it goes up in a flame. And my husband puts the camera down. We're sending a video to his mom, and he slapped my head and he grabbed the hair just right where he started crying after because he felt like he didn't react fast enough.
Oh my God,
he
reacted
was
so fast.
I was like still singing.
I would have been like, that was the other thing is you kind of didn't know
I didn't know. I literally didn't know. I was like feeling good about where I was at in my octave range. I felt like I was out singing my kids. It was very good. And then he slapped my head. So the video, I have to give it to Finn because I think I could have traumatized my kids, and Finn goes, "Oh my God, you almost died." And then Eleanor started to laugh because I think she was borderline almost starting to cry. And as they said this to me, my hair is still smoking.
It's like,
but they're laughing so hard. So I didn't know if I would post the video, but because I was okay, I posted the video. I don't know if that was exactly the right thing to do, but the world is a sadistic place and like 8,000 people shared the video. If it's a cautionary tale, I say.
I'm telling you, that's why those do so well on like AFV. As long as you know, like they're not going to send it in or they're not going to show it if anybody really got hurt, because that's called Faces of Death.
Yeah, gross.
That's a different
I'm not
thing.
into that. I don't want to know anybody gets hurt. I don't like that stuff.
I was scared that your face got burned.
That's what my mom was worried about too, and that makes me feel really good. Like there's something to worry about. Like
absolutely.
Hey. So by some miracle, I didn't even zero burns, nothing. But when I got the next day, I was like, God, the top of my head really hurts. And I think it's where Colin like yanked my hair.
Yeah.
And then I went into the stylist.
He didn't need to like pound your face down into the...
I didn't know why a rib punch was necessary.
Like, it's out.
Yeah, it's out, guys. This is 48 hours later.
You put flour on a grease fire, and then if it's a wife fire, you just
keep more muscle slamming the wife. Yeah. So it was my big hero, and then the kids laughed. We all had a good laugh. I was fine with it until I went to the stylist, and I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. And then she looked at it, and she's like, "You've have a hole in your hair." And I was like, oh, now this doesn't feel fun, because I had grown out my hair and I liked it long. And as Phoebe Waller-Bridge says on Fleabag, hair is everything. Hair is everything. And when she had to cut it, I was like, oh man. And it's still burned. It's still the burned hair, because she would have to cut almost to, that would have been like Marsha Brady or Carol Brady. So I was like, let's not go that far.
I think you could do that.
Thank you. No.
Yeah.
But anyway, everybody, I'm fine. And that's why I have a new haircut. Welcome to the podcast.
You guys already know that we love coffee. I like mine like kind of sweet, like a milkshake basically. And Kristin likes hers that you can like whack somebody's chest with.
Yeah, I like to call it cowboy coffee. This is delightful. It's peppery. It's strong. It's the way coffee was intended. You put it in a French press and it blows your mind.
We're so excited about our new favorite find. That's Press House Coffee. It was just founded by two guys who love fancy premium coffee, and they just really know how to make a good cup of joe.
I also like that they developed this coffee with the idea of like, it shouldn't cost a ton of money to have a good cup of coffee, and they're right. And this is delicious, and it's almost gone. That's right. And mine, on my label, Jen says it's a coarse grind, which I know that's how you like to dance as well.
It's the only way I know how. It's how I learned. Trust us. You guys order Press House Coffee for yourself and your coffee-loving friends and family over the holidays. You'll get 20% off if you go to our special URL right now at presshousecoffee.com/mom. Don't wait. Go to presshousecoffee.com/mom. I'm really into Athletic Greens right now because it's like taking vitamins, but you don't have to take these big old horse pills. It's like basically taking your vitamins and minerals in a green drink in the morning.
Yeah, and it's yummy, and it doesn't, those chalky vitamins are the worst, and they stay in the bottom of your stomach kind of all day.
Yeah.
With so many stressors in life, it's difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give our bodies the nutrients that it needs to thrive. Busy schedules, poor sleep, or simply not eating enough of the right foods. Shocker.
This is where Athletic Greens can help. Their daily powder is by far the easiest and most delicious nutritional habit that you can add to your health routine. Super easy, you guys.
That's right. One scoop of Athletic Greens contains 75 vitamins, minerals, including probiotics, a green superfood blend, and more that all work together to increase your energy and focus, aid with digestion, and support a healthy immune system.
You just shake it up for 20 seconds and drink it. You know I can do that,
yeah.
Right? And right now, Athletic Greens is doubling down on supporting your immune system during the winter months. They're offering our audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase.
Simply visit athleticgreens.com/IMOMSOHARD. That's athleticgreens.com/IMOMSOHARD and get your free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs today with your first purchase.
I had a traumatic thing, not nearly as traumatic, but I got a drawer full of hair in my bathroom.
I would just like to I'd like to slow down on
everybody?
that. Jen has a drawer of hair.
And I accidentally left it open because I was in a hurry, and my 2 little labradoodles reached in there and grabbed out $300 of hair. And then it was in my yard, and my husband had to go pick it all up.
You're like, I don't care if they crapped it out. We can wash it.
Well, I got extensions a long time ago because I lost my hair when I had my son.
We got them we both said that like a gift to ourselves when we did the Amazon specials that we could go get fancy hair. And that was really fun.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. No, I did when I got what is my deal with bad haircuts? I got
the Keith Urban haircut.
Keith Urban haircut. That was a situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch it up, you guys. I'm going to go from hair to a hot minute. That's not intentional. Okay, so this is fun. Man, we've been working. We're happy to work, blessed to work. Feel very grateful to be working right now. But we've not had a day off in a while.
Yeah.
And cheers to that, by the way. Cheers to that. And before I give you that, before I give you that hot minute, let me just say this one thing. Right now everybody's still in lockdown. LA numbers are still high. Everybody across the country is still trying to fight COVID and all of this.
Yeah.
So I have to give a huge shout out to all the businesses out there that are doing everything they can creatively to sort of stay in play.
Yeah.
Social distancing. And I mean, our little theater or the little school where we send Eleanor to do ballet and tap, which I just love them so much. It's called Creation Station. They created this like virtual recital.
So awesome.
And honestly, there were moms. We were all 6 feet apart. There were only 3 of us. And we were 6 feet apart and we didn't get to watch the recital. It was through a screen. It was literally like kind of a sad version of it, but our girls got to wear leotards and they got to do a little nutcracker routine.
Oh my gosh.
And then they're going to make it into a video. It's probably going to look like solid gold dancers. And I just want to say to all the businesses out there that are staying afloat that I'm here for it. You guys were such supporters of small business. We
are a small business.
We are a small business. So if you're out there and you're thinking of like what you're going to do for your Christmas list, man, like watch our Instagram. We're going to put a bunch of fun small businesses on there, but support your local small business. Your kids don't need any more fucking Legos.
Yeah.
So that's what I just wanted to say because I was really inspired by this recital
awesome.
And Eleanor was nonplussed, but it's fine.
And a bunch of people, who have lost their small business, no follow their own, just all of this.
And then when all this is said and done, everybody needs to stop being chintzy and think about, buy those group tickets for theater events and concert events that you've always said you were going to do and didn't do it now. Buy them. Buy a 5 block. Be like, I'll find a sitter. I don't give a shit. I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
Hollywood Bowl or the Pantages or local theaters, West Side Comedy Theater. West Side Comedy Theater.
Support small business and use your credit card. Money's theoretical, you guys.
Credit card isn't real money.
Nothing is.
No. Credit cards make fake money. You can use it all the time and nobody makes you give it back.
That's right.
We are not financial advisors. Okay, I don't know why I keep looking at this because I know exactly what we're going to talk about. Jen, okay,
I'm
I've got
nervous.
but no. Okay, so we're in the holidays. Mm-hmm. We love the holidays, you and me.
So much.
I just have it's less of a topic and more of a creative question. You're at a holiday party.
Okay.
The best holiday party.
Okay.
What's on the table for food? I mean, that's like not your average fare party, but that party that you're like, they got it right.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Before I dive in, is it a dinner party or is it like a buffet or is it just...
I like where your head is. I like all these questions. I think for this, it's a like stand and graze party. Lots of people, lots of ugly sweaters, lots of cheer and jolly and joy. And then there's just tables everywhere of food. What's on it?
Oh, man.
Even if you're the host, but if you're not the host, like what's on it?
Okay. All right. Well, I definitely get really excited when I love a tray passed hors d'oeuvre. I get just super excited.
I know. You always think that people are really rich.
That honestly was my favorite part of my wedding was that there was like, because everybody's so...
I ate so much of the tray pass foods at your wedding. It was embarrassing. I was pumping milk out of my boobs. I was like, I need it.
It was, well, that's the thing. Everybody's so hungry, like after the like the ceremony or whatever, that they're ready to eat. So that, I feel like that's the thing. If you get good tray passed hors d'oeuvres, like you get some kind of little, like, can we talk about how a slider doesn't need to be a half-size burger? Like it needs to be like a small, cute, like dainty little bite that you don't mess up your makeup. Like I can agree with that,
people. Except I can see Colin sitting next to me and being like, no, bigger the slider, the better. I'm like,
Popping
they
them
don't
like
need to be
Tic
quarter
Tacs.
pounders.
Right. No, that's not slider. That's just a
You're
burger.
right, but
and that's not what like a little tiny taco.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my
one
God,
of
they're so
those.
cute.
We've talked a lot about this. I love a sushi. Like, it doesn't even have to be real sushi, but like not like somebody's gonna just put
Like a
out
California
albacore
roll?
or something. Yeah, or something a little bit more exotic, maybe like those little like wonton ahi cups that
If
you
I
have,
saw somebody that had those at a party, I would go get a Tupperware.
and just start loading them in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done that. You know, I've done that.
For sure.
I've been like,
Yeah.
we're in an event, like a fundraising event. There's a table of food. And I'm like, you guys gonna dump this? I got like, can I take some of the treats home for my kids? And they're all like so nice.
If we go to like some fancy meeting and there's like a tray in the back that has like power bars and pretzel bags, 'cause she's just like,
I'm taking them all.
oh, excuse me, I gotta go to the restroom again.
You know what?
Anything from the restroom?
Stay on point, Jen.
Okay. So my favorite thing, oh my gosh. Like I would love to have a holiday party, New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
Whatever kind of party that is like the Great Gatsby, sort of
Like full decadence.
fully decadent. Like it doesn't hardly happen anymore. Maybe it does. Like I feel like adults live in New York and not in Los Angeles because we're like, can I wear sweats? Oh no, it's jeans.
Everybody
it's a
gets.
fancy.
I know. I like when everybody gets dressed up.
Gets into like they're getting dressed for the prom and has like one of those New Year's Eve parties like that's pictured in The Shining but less creepy. You know?
Yeah, I think that's. Yep, I think
Like no
less
crazy,
Shining. No
crazy bartender that kills his family kind of deal. But that like big ballroom, fancy dinner where you have to get tickets, like not tickets, but you know that's what they used to do at hotels. It'd be like, you know, $200 and it was like dinner and dancing and like some like 5-course meal.
Knowing that, I agree with you because I feel like we think that like getting that dolled up feels like such like a big effort, but when you do it, you feel great. And when do you do it? Like never. So it's such a fun occasion to wear.
I know.
I love it. I know it sounds like completely contradictory to who I am until the holidays, and then I'm like, I want to wear the fancy stuff.
Yeah, when you have an outfit that you like, you're like
too much.
No, but you're ready to rock it and you're excited about about doing it. I think that you should have parties like that. I think like I use my makes my husband crazy, but we have out for like everyday use my grandmother's bone china because it's like all broken and it's not a full set, but it's beautiful. So I'm like, why not use it? And if it all breaks or something,
I can go back and forth on that. I have my dad's set of china from when he was in Vietnam, and I think there's pressure because not one piece is broken yet, and so I got a hutch only for that stuff, and we haven't used it yet because we went into quarantine a week after we got it.
But so, maybe for like if you have like a fancy date night or something like that, you guys will like
for at the house.
I'm so waspy. That's an aphrodisiac in my house. It's like
God.
Oh.
I'd rather have takeout fried chicken and
somebody brought out the brassware.
I know you like to sit and dine. That is fun. And if you have the house to do it and you're like, that's like your thing. But my head is like, let's go out.
But I think you should throw big parties. I think you should make people get dressed up so they have beautiful pictures.
Yes,
I think you should lay out a spread. And I've been thinking about this lately. May I go morbid for just a little bit?
Yes, please.
I find it so depressing in like the news right now where people were like, I didn't get to say goodbye to this person or whatever who's sick. This is what I think. Have a fucking party and say goodbye every day.
Muertos.
Yes. Have it be like I say I love you too much to people. I don't like to leave mad. I hate it. I hate to go to sleep. Like if my husband and I are fighting. People who don't love me and don't even say I love you. I'm like, before we hang up, okay, I love you. I just said I love you. Because I feel like you got to do that in all the ways that you can.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason I love to like cook for people. Because I'm like,
that's what I think about the holidays. I think about the food and what it smells like, and I can like, it's like a time warp, man.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, our big meal, which is this is so weird, but it was delicious, and I'm sure like 1,000 calories per serving, but who cares? My mom would make oyster stew, and it was buttery and rich. Ooh. And like, you know, growing up in Nebraska, my mom was a teacher and my dad sold cars, so we weren't rolling in the dough. In my head, they were we were, and they just weren't spending enough on me. But she would make oyster stew, and we'd use my dad's china from when he was in Vietnam, and it was so beautiful. And then get this, when we had good years, my parents would buy a lobster tail for each of us. So
Holy smokes, that really is fancy.
That's fancy and expensive in Nebraska. And I also am questioning whether or not how much I would try. I don't know where the hell
I don't know. It was just they
we're
saved
getting
the shells.
I know. That's right. Oh my God. So I remember, oh God, this is so terrible. One Christmas, my Aunt Lois spends Christmas with us every year, and she's special needs. And I remember she was sitting at the table, and I was very young. I think I was probably like 7 or 8. And I wanted her lobster tail. And I kept trying to convince her she wouldn't like it. So my mom took my lobster tail away from me.
That's good parenting.
And she was like, "You're ruining Christmas."
Oh,
oh God.
Poor Lois.
I know, she's the sweetest. And
she's also like a real celebrity in Nebraska because it's
she
so funny.
Is.
Like Kristin and I, between the two of us, know everybody. But if you throw Lois in, then there's not anyone.
There's not anybody we don't know.
Yeah.
It's so weird. She's in the Special Olympics, and she plays bocce ball and basketball, and she's the cutest thing you've ever seen.
And my friend Erin messaged me like
counselor.
It was like fangirling out and was like, "Tell Kristin I know Lois. I love Lois."
Big shout out to Scoops in Hastings, Nebraska, because that's where she works. It's all special needs people.
That's the best.
And they work in an ice cream shop, and it's literally the most beautiful business model. I feel so sentimental. So I think traditionally I could smell that soup, and it was so buttery and good.
Yeah.
And like weird, right? Oyster stew. Does anybody do that? And then she'd have, is it usually ham or turkey? One of the meats I don't love for Christmas dinner.
Ham usually.
Ham. And then like the next day we would do Christmas Day, and there was always a stew, or like she would use the fixins from the night before meal and like make a stew. And then we would just lounge and eat all day. Cinnamon rolls. Oh my God, cinnamon rolls.
Oh gosh.
Nobody can do them right. You got to make them homemade, and that sucks. It takes so much time.
I got to try. Okay, because
you got to do the yeast and stuff. You got to just do it.
There are two things that my grandmother used to make that would, like, people would hear that she was making it, and like from all the four corners of Oklahoma would drive to her house and be like, I think you might, cinnamon rolls was one.
But let's just be clear. Everybody thinks they can make a good cinnamon roll, and it's kind of like pizza. You're like, that's fine.
They are,
but
when
they're good, you'll like fight someone for it.
My grandma was so good at it and would like turn like the congealed stuff in the middle. She made her own frosting. And we would ask her all the time, like, "Mimi, will you write down what the recipe is?" And she'd be like, "Jenny, I told you before." Take a little bit of flour, pinch of yeast.
They act like we're so dumb.
They're like water and set it up the night before. You got to be patient. Then you're going to roll it out. Like,
you're like, "I'm already bored. I want to go to Hot Topic."
No, I'm like, "You're going to have to give me the precise measurements," which she did not know. So I can try to make these delicious cinnamon rolls. Maybe I will. That might be a fun thing to do.
That might be a fun thing to do, especially with your kitchen, because you've got the big countertop to do it. You got to roll it out. You got to wait. They got to rise.
Wait,
they
overnight?
Smell so
Are you
good.
kidding me? That's so hard.
Cinnamon and sugar.
But when she was making it, she used to pickle stuff too.
Oh, our whole family's into like pickled meats, which sounds disgusting.
No,
like,
that sounds terrible.
But
pickled
it is
meat?
like it's I'm saying it wrong. My mom's gonna murder me. This will be the thing she gets mad at me about. It's not pickled meat. It's jarred meat. What is it called when you put it in the
chips
jar?
Beef or
kinda.
Yeah.
And they stay in these jars and like forever, by the way. And like you open it and it should be gross and it smells fantastic and it looks gross.
Yeah.
And you eat it and you feel gross and great at the same time.
I'm not saying it's not gross,
kind of
but
like
it does
S&M.
taste good. Sure. And what is the meat safe word while we're on the topic?
I don't know.
What do you say when you've
sweating? I'm sweating. I'm literally full of so much.
You just pound your chest with your fist.
And does anybody have naproxen so we can add more salt to this situation? So your grandmother made cinnamon rolls, and then what was the other thing?
The other one, this is so obscure, and I feel like people from the South, you got to let me know if you had the same thing. You are going to hate this. It was waffles and white sauce.
Oh!
Now, white sauce is basically, you take like a cup or so. This is also my grandmother's directions. of the waffle, like the paste, the waffle mix that you make. She always had her own recipe for waffle mix, like made them on the waffle iron and stuff like that. And then in a pot, she would put that and some water and some cream and some sugar and whip. Basically, she made pie filling.
Whoa.
Like a meringue of some sort.
Well, that sounds good. The other thing you were saying sounded like you were saying gravy. Is that like chickens and waffles?
Literally, depending on what you add to it, it's the same as gravy. But you add like a little bit of like
how about we don't add the gross?
Yeah. No, and then I'll make it for you someday. It's seriously like what's that? Like a cream pie. It's cream pie topping, and you put it on top of your waffles.
Stupid.
It's so stupid, and it was so good that when like my second cousins and stuff like that would hear that she was making it, she would just like all day be like, she had like 3 waffle irons going. Have everybody
it's like heaven.
It was absolutely heaven.
It's heaven. And you know what? I'm actually a good breakfast cook. That's like my favorite. My
all
grandmother.
All men are.
Shut up.
So true. Every man can make a good egg.
I'm
you
good
know what?
on
One
the,
time
and
my
I'm good
grandma
on the
asked
grill.
me, I said, all men can make a good egg. My grandma goes, how do you know that?
She's like, Jenny, she's got her hair up. Jenny, I don't know how you know that.
No, she's the kind she'd wink and be like, all right, tell me later.
Oh, no. Naughty cat. I think that the holidays is like, you get really inspired during the holidays. I think we both do. It's just like, here's an excuse for joy. Let's lean in and do it. And so like, I think that's just one of the things that, but it was really funny when I was talking to my husband today, I was like, I want to talk to Jen about food with the holidays. Cause we both, those two things are like magic for us.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he started to list all the things he loves at parties that are like delicious. And I go, you literally just listed everything that Jen makes. He's like, make sure she talks about those, what is it? The Melba toast. I wrote it down. The Melba toast.
Well, you do make a mean breakfast, may I say.
I do.
Here's another thing.
And coffee cake.
All men are really good at making eggs. I don't know what, all men, I've tested them all.
They're pretty good at it. It's also pretty simple.
Well, all men also love pumpernickel bread with cream cheese and ranch, sliced cucumber, and dill.
They think you're like, I think what it is because everybody knows that it's true. Like, we hate that these cliches are true, but a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And when a man sees there's like something that looks like it tastes good and it kind of looks like chef quality, they're like, oh, she's next level woman.
Anything that's like on the back of a Pillsbury or a Philly cream cheese container is not chef worthy, but they like it.
They look beautiful. My husband eats like 40 of them. I'm like,
oh God,
you've got to save some for the other people that are coming. We're always early. They're going to know it's you.
This is a small world. Can I say this?
Yeah.
That Trey Crowder and his family come over. They normally do. We didn't have Thanksgiving. They usually come over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We met in LA. They're lovely. And his wife is a Southern cook, and she has to make like 4 dozen deviled eggs. And
oh my God,
so that's 48,
so good. I
96.
remember those.
I think so. She brings just trays and trays and trays of deviled eggs.
That's another thing. Like a deviled egg, everyone's like, I've had one, they're fine. But when somebody has a good deviled eggs, you're like, I have a Ziploc in my bag and I got no time to spare. Like, you'll let them get all real gross and you'll eat them in your car.
I was about to say I've never met a deviled egg I didn't like, but I don't necessarily like relish in the topic where there's
I'll
pickles.
deal with it.
Yeah, no, it's not great. I don't
like
hate
it's
it,
like
but
a jelly bean.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what my aunt used to make during the holidays? This is embarrassing. I ate one entire bucket myself and was constipated for like 8 days as a kid, 10-year-old. But I think as an adult too, if I'm going to be honest. This is so gross. They're called fat pills, which is a terrible name for them, but I didn't name them.
I took those. They make you shit a lot the next day?
Nope, different. That's Ally. Okay, so you take a loaf of white bread, you cut the crust off, and you roll the bread.
Oh yeah.
And then on the inside, I can't remember. I'll post the recipe. I think it's whipped cream, or it's not sour cream. Cream cheese, sugar, cinnamon, butter, who knows, just add in the deliciousness.
Did you guys just hear me gulp? It's so disgusting.
You paint that, what do you call it? Onto the bread. Wipe it on there.
Slather. I don't know.
Slather,
that's what
whatever.
I do when it's food
involved.
involved.
And then you roll it up, you cut it into thirds, you dip it in butter.
Okay, keep going.
And then you put them in the oven.
Put
them in the oven.
Okay.
And they come out. And they taste like the center of a cinnamon roll without the other.
Oh, God.
And so my aunt made an entire, remember an ice cream came in 2-gallon buckets? And
I gotta
you just
pour more drink.
Let me tell you something. I ate so many of those. My mom was like, you have to stop. And I was like, I can't. I physically can't. And I literally couldn't poop for like 8 days, and it was worth it. Those are the treats. It's because this is my mecca. I love cinnamon. I love cheese. I love all of the like stews and the meats and the meat and cheese plates.
I do too. And I lack self-control. Like I literally will I'll like diet before the holidays so that I like that like weight gain isn't as much because I love the food so much. But you just reminded me of a time I've always been problematic when it comes to like getting obsessed with the thing, because I like cinnamon rolls so much, love cinnamon rolls so much, that I would do that weird like bulimic chick thing, only I'd forget to throw up when I was pregnant, and I would eat like the pop out of the can cinnamon rolls.
Those are bad.
Like,
Trader Joe's #1.
I can't let my husband see that I ate 4 of them, so I'll have to eat 8 of them. Like,
it's so true. And it feels, you're full, but it feels kind of good.
Yep.
And then you feel bad.
you feel dirty. You're like,
I'll
go on a really long walk tomorrow.
And then you don't. Then you're fine with it. And you're like, I'm carrying a baby. What the fuck have you done today?
I know.
Yeah.
But I do remember that I had these neighbors that I babysat for like only a couple times because I always made some really fatal mistake that didn't involve like a fatality, but always something that really pissed them off. And I don't know if I should say their names, but I'm going to say their names are Lou and Kim, and which was the man and which was the woman. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
I don't know. But they had these like delicious fruit snacks. And this was back when fruit snacks, like, they're like currency in my house.
People forget that like back in the day, fruit roll-ups and fruit snacks were for the rich.
They were literally candy.
They were delicious, and they were weren't allowed.
It was a treat.
It was a treat. And if your mom sprung for like fruit roll-ups that were only going in your school lunch, and she probably cut it in half.
You were just showing off too. Like,
yeah, everyone's like, hey man, don't to show everybody, they'll think we got our tax return.
Peel open that fruit roll up and be like, wow.
You're like, how's it feel to be a rich person? Same with beef jerky.
Beef jerky?
I was like, if you've got beef jerky coming from a real cow, my friend Dana always had like real beef jerky. I was like, I know I shouldn't be putting this in my backpack, but she's got real Doritos and beef jerky. I'm taking
oh my
both
gosh,
home.
Real Doritos?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or like real cheese puffs too.
Real cheese puffs.
Yeah, we don't ever have
Mom
those.
tried to keep a cereal box and shove it full of the cheap cereal as though I wouldn't
smart.
know Apple Jacks. I knew.
Yeah, you couldn't go cheap on any of this. And like they were just the fruit snack science was just beginning.
Yeah, so they were like candy. They were lemon drops. Yeah. They were candy drops.
They were like trying to make it not candy by like, so there were these like gusher things that had like fruit juice in them. And I go to babysit and I had not eaten dinner. And then who knew that taking care of 2 boys was going to be really hard and make you hungry. But so I get them down to bed, and I was so bad at babysitting that I was scared to even turn on their TV. I just sat in their dark living room. But I did eat an entire box, brand new box.
That's so much money.
And I knew I was in trouble too because they used to wash out their Ziploc bags. They were like,
hey, don't judge. I do that.
If you're 100%. Down to none, we're in a pandemic. This in the 80s, it was encouraged to waste plastic.
Yes. I guess I don't remember my mom doing that, but I do that now because I'm environmentally conscious, which is...
Well, that's
in
different.
the 80s, we were doing things different. We were rolling fast and loose and using lots of Aquanet.
Absolutely.
As you should.
Yeah, it was a totally different thing. So I knew that they weren't going to react well, but
they're doing the math. They're like, we paid $2 an hour. She ate $11 worth of fruit snacks.
I know my worth. I know my worth.
Hey man, I did the same thing. This person will go unnamed, but a kid crapped in the tub, and I was like, at the very beginning of babysitting night, and they were notoriously cheap, and so the kid crapped in the tub, and I think he did it on purpose because he was eyeballing me at the same time, and so I cleaned out the tub, and then I decided, I was like, the only fair thing to do, because I know they're not going to pay me well, is to eat everything. No, you disgusting. Hey man, if it would have been a fruit snack, who knows? But I was like, I'm going to clean this kid up. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to put him to bed, and then I'm going to eat everything and go through all of their drawers. I've told this story before, and everyone always emails me or texts me, and they're like, was it us?
It's so funny.
The right people have not emailed me.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting on that apology. I can tell you that depending on the age of the kids, if one of mine crapped in the tub, I'd be like, yeah, just you don't have to clean it up. Yeah.
I cleaned it up. My mom was like strict about my work ethic with babysitting. She's like, you make that house look better than you got in there. And I called her, I was like, you just crapped in the tub. And she's like, clean it up. And I was like, no. And then I was like, fruit snacks for roll-ups, beef jerky. I like made myself chicken. I had had a whole rotisserie.
I'd be like, God, I've read the OSHA handbook. I don't have to. I didn't sign any kind of waiver on liquids or solids.
Okay. How far off topic have I gotten us with fruit snacks?
No, I did that.
I did that because I was talking about the fun things we like to eat.
Obsession. So this is a thing that I've been obsessed with this for a really long time. And if you're not from the Midwestern states, you might not know what this is, and you'll probably make fun of it. But I'll take you to church someday. Runzas.
Oh, see, you and I have a very different This is where like Nebraska people are like, "What's wrong with you?" Because
it's like a Mennonite meatloaf.
It looks like a giant tick. I don't like them. What are they called in real life? Not runzas.
Bierox, I think.
Yeah, Bierox.
That's what my aunt used to make them.
Listen, I know that people that make them well, it's like gravy. People that make it well, they're very proud of them. It's very delicious, but I think it looks like a meat mistake. Well, I don't like onion.
Let me explain what it is. Okay, it's a delicious piece of like bread. It's like a roll.
That's an understatement. I don't know how to explain it.
There's brown meat.
Think of a sleeping bag of dough.
Kristen is wrong about this. She's wrong about this, and I don't know if she had some sort of brain injury. But what's next?
I don't like the little oniony stuff and the seasoning in there. It doesn't sit right with
stuff.
Well, you know what?
So it's basically like, I think it's onion, celery, black pepper, cabbage.
Cabbage. That's what I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I don't like cabbage.
I get that.
I don't like cabbage.
Okay. So, and then it's like all stewed together, and then it's baked inside of this delicious piece of bread, and they've mastered it. I don't know how they do this. They get cheese inside there sometimes.
You get cheese inside. I know. And the good ones are brag-worthy.
I think I would probably be about 95 pounds right now, because that's like, my mom was always like really tiny, but I could add 5 pounds to every like 6-block distance I live to Runza. Like if I
Did your mom make them? Because I bet she could make them, because she's a very good cook.
Yeah, you know who's really good at making them is my brother, but because he's got like such a big beard and stuff, everybody thinks he really is a Mennonite.
And he's just a man on the mission.
He's just
a bear. Mission. Yeah. He's just a bear. Yeah.
He makes a really good Bierox.
Yeah. And he looks good with a beard. Although I do like him fresh shaven.
He looks too young.
He's too young to have that beard because it's gray. And I think his eyes are so beautiful. But that's my personal opinion.
I agree.
think he's handsome either way.
You guys
and I love Addison.
You and my brother have the same color eyes too.
Oh, thanks. And the same color beard. It's fine.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you something that, have you ever made, remember when we had our Christmas party, which I'm so sad. This is going to be our first, Jen and I have spent every Christmas together for a decade or more.
Probably, yeah.
I would imagine, because we started having this Christmas party at our house only out of reaction to avoiding traveling anywhere, because we tried going to Houston one year, nightmare. We tried going to Nebraska one year, nightmare.
Yeah.
And we thought, you know what? We're going to stay landlocked in California where it's beautiful, and tell everybody there's a travel restriction on anyone under the age of 10. Now we're screwed. So we have this Christmas party every year. It's so fun. It's just grown.
It's a blast.
It's a blast. I don't think I'm the greatest host.
You are.
Well, I'm different. I'm like a good time at a softball party. I like I'm a softball game and beers and brats after. But I know what makes everybody feel good and what people really want to eat.
Here's what's great about Kristen's. It's a Christmas Eve party.
Christmas Eve party. We love it. The kids come. Everybody's a mess. It's
so great. She just invites, especially if they have kids, but everybody's basically welcome. And then she says, put the kids in pajamas.
Yep.
So here's what happens.
I love it.
You start early. You usually start like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Okay.
Figure that way everybody can get home if they want to do a little bit of family nighttime stuff together.
She's like, here's what I'm going to have. I'm going to make this pulled pork. I'm going to make chili.
Exactly on
I'm
my
going to make
list.
potatoes. I'm going to make make rolls. I'm going to make this like something sweet. I'm going to have lots of booze.
that will put anybody in.
Yep.
Like, it's embarrassing.
You bring whatever, but don't feel like you have to. And then what everybody ends up bringing is tons of wine, booze.
There's a
fancy
table
drinks.
for booze, and it's not just beer and wine. People are drinking lovely scotches and martinis.
Stuff you just drink on holidays.
Like wonderful
Yeah.
booze. And that's what I like to make. I know that it makes me sound like more of an alcoholic. I'm not. I love to mix drinks for people. I did it for a living for a very long time.
There's always somebody that's like standing by the table and who's like, I'm just making old fashions. You want one?
Yeah, I
Or like,
remember Andrea's husband was like, I make a good martini. And I looked at him like it was almost like a challenge. And I was like, what do you mean? How good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see your martini and then I'll see you on Tuesday. It'll be great.
So here's what happens. We have a good time. Everybody, the kids just eat. They come in, they grab like
They go outside and they're happy we're not looking at them.
like that. They get so tired that by the time you get home at like 8 or 9,
And they're done.
they're done.
Cooked.
They go to bed. Christmas Eve, they go to bed. They're so
we put
tired.
Fitbits on them and nobody leaves until they've got 30,000 steps.
And then I have got time and the appropriate buzz to finish my 9 hours of
I know,
gift
we love it.
wrapping.
It's such a, when you live in California, you often don't live next to family. You've migrated here. So it's like your California family becomes so incredibly important. It's a super drag that we won't have that this year, but we're going to have it next year and it's going to be a rager. But it is super fun. I love, one year we had it and our friend brought homemade hooch, which is my new, have you ever made homemade alcohol? I mean, not like
No.
poured. Okay.
I know I've drank it a lot though.
And I have a wonderful story about that. Okay, so when I was very, very poor and just moved to LA, I was working at Warner Brothers as a PA. Again, let me reiterate what a PA is. There's no one lower than you on the totem pole, literally. There's no one. If your boss is like, hey, I need you to take this stool sample to the doctor, you're like, that's my job because that's where I'm at on the pecking order. Like you have zero, you're very unimportant. But I loved it because I just moved here.
They're not unimportant. They really are like the table legs.
We're the table legs. You're the first in, you're
But
the
you get
last to
treated
leave.
like shit.
You get treated like shit, but there's 8 of you. So you're like in this like posse of like crap that feels great.
Yeah.
And I'm such a team player that I'm such a dork that when I moved here and I got to work at Warner Brothers, I would go on my lunch breaks and I would walk the entire studio and I'd
Just
be like
picking up litter.
picking up litter or talking to I'd be like, hey Joe, what do you do? And he's like, I calculate all the audio files. I'm like, that sounds neat. Can I come watch? And then I'm like,
I'll shadow you.
Yeah, can I shadow you for a day? That was my favorite word. Can I shadow? So I shadowed everybody at Warner Brothers. By the time I left, I'm like, I'm the mayor.
Yeah.
And I loved being there. So I worked on a movie with George Clooney. What's up? Perfect Storm.
Hello.
Not a bad day. And my first movie was, what's the Kevin Costner one that I worked on? Shit. A Message in a Bottle.
Oh, okay.
Very important. First movie I ever worked.
Literally, I could think of nothing but Field of Dreams.
I know, but Message in a Bottle, David Negron Jr. was my boss. He was great. So my second job was Perfect Storm. And I wanted to buy everybody presents, but I was so poor that I knew that would be ridiculous. So my roommate, Allie, who's very crafty, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see her painting her
she's
tiles?
painting the tile of her floor. I was like, come on.
can-
It's like making it into like Italian tile.
She makes everything look easy. She's like, I'm vegan now. This bitch used to eat piles of cheese and meat. Now she's like, I make meat out of zucchinis. And I'm like, what? And she's so thin, it makes perfect sense. I'm like, why are you better?
You think she wouldn't be such a good artist? Like she'd have the shakes too bad. She's so
No,
skinny.
and she's so
perfect.
She's perfect. It's obnoxious. She's a dear friend. We were friends from a very young age. Anyway, so she's like, I'm like, Allie, I really want to make gifts for everybody, but I don't have any money. And she's like, I've got an idea. Let's make homemade Kahlua. And I'm like,
Oh gosh.
that seems
Like
Impossible.
something that can kill someone if you do it wrong.
Right. Are we doing it like my cousins where there's a distillery in your backyard and it's called moonshine? Or are we going classier? She's like, classier. So we basically got, I'm going to say this wrong. I'm going to post the recipe. 2-liter jugs of Coca-Cola, dumped it, put in vodka, like a vanilla bean, coffee beans, and a shit ton of sugar. And then we made 16 of those, right? Because we got like Popov, like the cheapest vodka you could. And then you put them in those 2-liter bottles. And we had to shake those suckers 4 times a day. Shake them. Literally shake them 4 times a day for what felt like, I always say more and more time every time I tell the story. I say 2 years. Allie's like, it was 1 week. And I'm like, no, it was 16 weeks. So you go in there and you shake it, you put it down. You shake the second one, make sure you marked that you shook them and put them down. And then she's like, I noticed that you guys are drinking Martinelli's apple juice on set. Can you get some of those juice glass bottles? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess. So I'm like going through the trash, finding these apple juice bottles.
Aww.
We take them home, put them in the dishwasher, and she fills them with this homemade Kahlua. I take them to set and I give them to everybody. And then I am instantly afraid that I did it wrong and that I'm gonna like pollute everybody.
Yeah.
And I had like almost like a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, it tastes terrible. And my boss's boss, the head guy, I gave it to everybody, by the way, Jen, like people I barely knew. I was like, Merry Christmas, love, Kristin. They're like, who the fuck is this chick? I dropped him off.
I think that's so sweet.
I was so homesick. So I like dropped him off, and this very high ranking person at Warner Brothers called me and he goes, are you the one that dropped off the Kahlua? And I was like, yes, sir, I'm sorry. He goes, it's literally the best thing I've ever had. My wife and I put it in the freezer and we put it over ice cream every night. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank God.
And then he took me to lunch. He's like, Grandpa, really nice man. Frank Uriosti. So sweet. Isn't that cool?
That is amazing. See,
Yeah.
yes. It's not this.
I'm sorry.
Like,
If was that too windy of a story, I'm very
not
sorry.
at all. It was.
I had such a good memory.
That's the joy of like you make something for somebody. You're literally giving them like it's love. It's your effort.
Yeah.
That's why all that. That's like why making food and stuff for people feels so good.
That's why I want a homemade card, man. I don't want your bullshit fake stuff. Unless it comes with like
money
or, you know.
My husband's such an
designer.
asshole. Even at his age, whenever anybody says, hey, well, what do you want for Christmas? You know, because your parents still ask you no matter how old you get. And he goes, a bag of money.
I don't disagree.
Which is, sure, if you've got that kind of scratch and you want to, but I think making gifts for people is like or making them food. It doesn't have to be
Making them
fancy.
food. I think it's just food. There's something like, I think the thing that I like about food is the best recipes, they're not fancy.
No.
They're the things you throw together and
my
like
God.
it feels like someone's literally giving you a hug. And I think where we're at a time right now where everybody's watching their budget and you can still make that food.
My friend Lori does Christmas cookies. She makes like 12 different kinds or whatever.
You can make a
like,
good Christmas cookie.
Yeah.
You're because most of them are dry as hell.
My husband and I will like fist fight over these cookies too. I'm like, how many do you have? Are they
the sugar cookies with the butter?
She'll frost them and make them really like they look professionally done. And I'll count them when they get in there because it's 50-50. You know the rule, right?
Yeah.
You got to split them up fair. It's
Also,
like pizza.
you can't like sneak eat at night. That's not fair.
No.
I have to hide them from my husband. Also,
I do
I'm like,
that too.
I'm like, it's a snowman. It's not a 3-biter. It's a snowman. It's not like that's not the suggested bite scheme. Like head, middle, butt. Like my husband, I'm like,
Take
can
your
finish
time.
it. I saw him eat a yogurt in 2 bites. I was like, this is the issue here. Like he gets so excited. That's why I'm like, slow down on Jen's food. The other thing is your cream, the corn dip that you make. He's like, what's that other thing she makes with the corn and the ranch and the deal? And I'm like,
oh, well, I do make creamed corn. I make
that's
homemade
what
creamed
he's talking
corn.
about.
Okay. But
then
I also
that's a
make
dip.
the 7-layer salad.
no, the dip with the.
Oh, the corn and cheese dip. Yeah.
All that
stuff's
is a
delicious.
slab of cream cheese in perfection.
It's so good. It's like ranch and corn. It's Mexicorn, shredded corn,
And
sour
cheese,
cream ranch.
So much cheese.
It's so much
Guys,
cheese.
This recipe is cheese, cream cheese, sour cream, sour cream, and cheese.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Most of my recipes are a stick, a bag, a half bag, a box, a sleeve.
You're just like your grandma.
Well, that's
You know what I mean?
But
You're like, just throw it, because that's what drives me crazy about
she
Jen.
made
She's
it
like,
from scratch.
Throw it. You just throw a little bit in. I'm like, if somebody tells me another goddamn recipe with a pinch, I'm going to lose my mind. Is it a teaspoon? Is it a literal pinch? What if my fingers are smaller than his fingers and we're pinching? But I have become a better cook over the quarantine. But I am a good baker. But I dare not, because I will make sense of eating that shit.
There's absolutely no reason to bake unless you're giving it away. Because
I gotta give it away. I have to give it away.
We had like, I bought half pies for our Thanksgiving, our tiny Thanksgiving.
Oh,
because I was like,
but those are cute. Yeah,
yeah. And then our friends gave us the Patty LaBelle pie.
Shout out.
It's so good. But I had to. Sorry to everybody. I had to get rid of them because I'm like, I can't leave this pie in our house.
Do you like pumpkin pie?
I love every kind of pie.
Do you really? I don't love every kind of pie. I don't like key lime pie. I don't love pecan pie.
I love key lime pie.
I love apple pie.
Sarah makes key lime pie, and it's
Sarah Gerald?
Nope. Sarah
Baker.
Yeah.
Sarah Baker is a baker.
She is a very good baker.
She's a very good baker.
The best cupcakes
it's interesting that her last name is Baker.
Yeah.
Also, a very well-known actress that you've seen on a million things.
Yeah.
She is a cupcake maker. We did your baby shower.
Yeah.
The sprinkle, and we got to work together and bake together. I'm so excited.
I'll tell you, she brings over almost every time, because they go like hotcakes, she just makes Rice Krispie treats. She does a little extra brown butter, and it's like the most delightful thing I've had. Like, I'm so easy to please.
I think everybody is really easy to please at the end of the day. I'm like, take me to some fancy holiday party. First of all, I'm going to ruin all of your workout routines, because I'm going to just want you to sit and put a blanket on, unbutton your pants, have a cinnamon roll, have a good bowl of chili, load it up with cheese, put some sour cream on there. If you need a vegetable, an avocado is a nice option, but vegetables are not welcome at this party.
But I do like the idea of a fancy party.
I do too.
So I want to do that when it's all over. But did I tell you my husband's idea for the everything party?
What's that?
So
that sounds fun and perhaps illegal.
Oh yeah. Oh, it sounds like
past hors d'oeuvres and
things in your butt. No. It's not one of those. It's not that exciting, but I love this idea so much. So it's going to make up for this entire year.
Oh, that's so fun.
You get people to RSVP and give their birthday, and you have different stations. You have a Christmas station where they get a present. They have a birthday present. You have birthday cake. You have
Jen, that's a great idea.
We're doing it, hands down. Let's do it. It's an everything party.
So fun.
You celebrate everything. You have a bounce house for the adults. Like, you
know that's going to be the moonwalk from Revenge of the Nerds, and everybody's going to bang on it. Well, you hope they do.
No. Because
I feel like none of us, I feel like we're all like, you know what it is? We're all going to be like, you know what I want? Not to talk to my spouse. I'm going to high five Colin. I'm going to be like, hey man, 2 hours. Let's make it a point to not talk to each other. And then we probably have some sort of weird Stockholm syndrome where we have to at some point.
Well, also, I think it would be really fun, because you'll notice this about your girlfriends. Anytime there's like a big party, like it's bigger than just like your group kind of.
Yeah.
You almost never get to talk to your good friends, because you feel like you're helping them.
Yeah.
I
don't like that feeling.
Yeah. I just want to have a party.
That's your feeling at every one of my parties. You're like, she didn't bring enough chairs.
No. No, I know you did, because Colin texted my husband and asked him to bring
Remember when I made him put the heater together before?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, we got a space heater. I don't know how to put it together. You guys need to go outside. And then I gave him like 40 beers, and I was like, just get it done.
They're always like putting a piñata up or something.
Yeah.
Like finishing some last minute landscaping. But we are going to have this party. It's going to be huge.
It sounds great.
And there's going to be elegant elements to it. And there's also just going to be like apple bobbing, just whatever. Wear your fancy dress and prepare for it to get fucked up.
If it's like, let's just say like, oh, we're buzzed. Let's go big. Let's go big picture. Let's pretend we're like billionaires. You have this party. You ask everybody to get really dressed up. You're like, all right, listen, you're gonna bob for Chanel, but you gotta be real. You gotta be willing to put your head in this deep.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Like, I would submerge so fast. I would it wouldn't even be, it'd be ugly. I'd take off my shirt.
I know. There would be
they'd be like, Kristin, and one.
There'd be like 2 cops standing by it going, I don't know. She's been under there a long time. Should we? No, nobody can survive
I would
under
give like
there
a
that
finger.
long.
I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Finger up. I'm good.
She'd
then
like
I'd come up with like
burst
14.
at like from Atreyu from the Never-Ending Story.
My husband would be like, you said you had TMJ.
It's at work. You didn't have TMJ when it came to those Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Mind your
Chewy,
business.
you were fine. But I think you could have everybody like be like responsible for their own station, you know, like you do the Easter part of the party or whatever. You do the like Halloween, like
that's fun.
I can't wait.
Man, I think the most important thing from that is that we all just remember like to keep thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because like, don't you think during this time, at least, I know when anybody's in survival mode, you go day to day.
Yeah.
I got to get through today. And then tomorrow I'm going to get through tomorrow. And the next day I'm going to get through the next day. And I realized like the important thing of the holidays, at least that it for us is I think it signifies hopefulness and sort of like daydreaming a little bit. Like,
yeah.
And with a very uncertain future, I think what's fun is planning these parties in your head. I know for a fact as a teacher and as somebody who I know for a fact when you do those things, when you think about those things, it opens receptors in your brain and it literally opens a door in your brain that has been closed for a very long time.
Yeah.
So we want our children to pretend. We want them to make believe. We got to do the same thing. And the best part is we have the ability to sort of make those things come to life. So like you can pretend, you can give yourself permission to think about better days. You know, that's maybe
I think that the holidays now in my head are little like lily pads that gonna get us to the edge of the pond. You know, so anything to celebrate, I'm super excited to like figure out a new and a different way to like celebrate it and then party like it's 1999.
And they can take away everything, but they can't take away our food. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I think the most sadistic part of COVID, the thing that makes me the most terrified is losing taste and smell. When I heard that, I was like, fuck, I'd rather, that's like the dumbest, that's the worst thing I've ever heard of.
I read about this thing where this woman had no taste and she ate the hottest thing she could find and like her body was sweating and like, but she still just like couldn't taste it. Isn't that crazy?
My sister, who ironically is basically going to culinary school right now, she's going to kill me. She's like, it's not, it's called gastronomy, whatever. She had COVID. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that. She's fine with it. She knows. She put it on social. So what's up, Megan? And she has lost her taste and smell, and she has like partial. So she'll get back. Still.
Oh my God.
It's a thing. So let's all be grateful and eat the food and drink the drink.
Eat it now.
And the
say
rest
I
of
love
this,
you.
Say I love you. Hug tight. Snuggle in. Eat the treats. Don't give a shit.
Yeah. Obviously, I have not. I do have a really fun that's like kind of timely.
Ooh.
Hot flash to share
We're gonna
with you.
hot flash.
Hot flash, hot flash. Hot flash. We're gonna have a hot flash about a man who's not just like a beefcake, and I don't know, maybe he is. He sort of sounds like it. So I'll tell you what his name is. I read about him.
I'm sure. Well, if you have to, she's like, I read about him in an article. I'm like, well, I don't know him because if he doesn't have his shirt off and isn't in front of people, I don't know what it is.
His name is Gary Bath.
I already like his name. What's up?
Okay.
Bath babe.
He bathes. Okay. So I love this story so much. And this is like a human kindness, awesomeness, hero story that could only happen in like the here and now.
Let's hear about Gary Bath.
Okay. This woman, she was in like Georgia and her husband is military. She's got a 10-year-old, 13-year-old. He gets stationed in Fairbanks.
Gary?
Nope.
Rando.
Let's put Gary on a pedestal over here.
Okay.
So he gets transferred or whatever you call that to Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh.
Like couldn't be further away, like 6,000 miles away. And it happens in 2020 Travel's not easy.
Oh.
But this mom is like, I've got a plan. I know what I'm going to do.
Because she's not messing around.
I'm going to buy a 4x4 vehicle and we'll just drive like I don't
to Alaska.
I guess people
Can you
do it
do
a lot.
that?
I guess there was some reason she had to. I don't know if it was like.
I mean, I didn't know you could literally geographically do that. I thought you had to take a spaceship.
I guess a lot of people do it, or an airplane. You could normally under normal situations.
That's how you travel.
But so the Canadians, because they were like, we're not fucking around with COVID. If you drive through here, you have to make it in 5 days. They said, like, you cross the border, you've got 5 days here. Otherwise,
we're gonna
you get
use
pulled over.
Some harshly toned encouragement.
We throw you out of the country, right?
with a couple granola bars and a nice scarf.
So this woman, like, loads up the car, loads up all their stuff. She's got 2 dogs and a cat, 10-year-old, 13-year-old, and makes it to Saskatchewan, crosses the border, and they say,
wow,
you've got 5 days, stay on the main roads. She was supposed to leave in September when the weather would be better.
Yeah.
Couldn't start because of COVID and everything like that.
Yeah.
Till November. Gets like 1,000 miles into the middle of Canada and is like, I can't do this. She didn't have snow tires on her car.
Oh, man.
She got screwed. So here's what happens. She's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't drive. I've been driving for 4,000 miles. I'm so tired.
I'd die.
Her kids go into this.
I'd make my 7-year-old drive and I'd be like, let's just roll the dice.
She said she kept like bawling to her son about it. And
how old was he? I would literally
like 10
be like,
or 13,
figure it out. Keep it on the road.
Oh, you're going to learn how to drive right now.
Yeah, there's literally 3 things you need to know. Straight, right, and left.
So she pulls over. The kids go into this gas station and she sits outside, fuels up the car and sits down and starts crying.
Oh, poor thing.
And this woman comes out of the gas station like, what's going on? She tells the story. We're trying to get to their dad. He's military. We haven't seen him this long. The woman's like, heart goes out to her. She goes, first of all, you don't have winter tires on. She's like, stay in this hotel tonight. We'll get you, we know the snow tire guy. We'll get you snow tires.
Is this woman's name Gary?
No.
Okay.
But listen, here's what she does. She goes on her Facebook page, this woman, and she says, here's this woman's story. She was at our gas station. She can't make it. Who can drive her? I'm going to start crying. So one of her friends, Gary Bath, and let me give you a description of Gary while I'm at it. Kristin is already undoing her pants right now.
We're talking about food and guys that understand snow tires. It's like 2 of my most erotic things.
So, Gary Bath, I got this from CNN. Gary Bath, a ranger whose job includes training members of the Canadian military to survive the Arctic, was at home when he saw his friends post about the stranded American family.
I'm going to cry. That's just fucking sweet. He's going to get so much ass from this.
He drives this woman. They meet, so make sure that they meet like over Zoom or whatever.
And to make sure there's no creep factor.
He's not creepy.
You know what?
He's a married
Sometimes
guy.
people are just good. I know. We always disclaim it, but we're like, hey, sometimes people just do the right thing.
And Gary is so good that he drives these dogs, the cat, 2 kids, and this woman
God bless him.
to Fairbanks, Alaska. And what better, like, that's the hottest dude in the world. That's like a superhero guy.
I mean, listen.
I don't care what Gary looks like.
I don't care what Gary looks like. I've got a vision in my head. It's fine. It's like
He's got a Mountie hat on. And
is it hot in here? Is it just the one? That's awesome. So then he drove the woman to Alaska and
gets him there. Yeah.
She gets
yeah,
him there.
End of story. And then I don't know if he like rents a car and drives home or whatever, but he was just like, I just knew she wasn't going to be able to get there without help. And, what are you going to do?
My mom, even though she loves to give me numerous amount of shit. No, I'm just kidding. My mom used to, I'm not going to say it right, but she used to say like, I'm sure there's a much better like phrase out there, but she used to say like, when you're at your lowest, do something good for someone. Yeah. Like when you think you're at your lowest, like give it away.
Yeah.
And I think what her point was is like you stop thinking about yourself, you start thinking about other people. But I do think that we've forgotten that like even during this really hard time, we can still give a little love. Maybe that's cooking somebody something. Maybe that's
plate of cookies.
Make a homemade card.
Yeah.
I would literally fall over if you made me a homemade card and that means not from your Cricut.
Oh, come on. I can really do intricate cuttings
No,
with that,
that's not
Kristin.
fair. That's a cheat. Your Cricut, I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm doing like bubble lettering with a Sharpie, and then I'm like whiting out the sides. I'm like, hey, Jay. No, I made it backwards.
But I was thinking that we should make each other Christmas gifts this year.
Disagree.
No.
I want purchased. Jen, you've been purchasing gifts for yourself all year, and now you want to give each other.
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
Stuff?
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of purchasing stuff.
Screw that. Look at my new scarf. I'm in.
It doesn't have to be anything like
Fine.
it can be like you can make me a beaded diamond bracelet. Whatever it is. You decide whatever you could just knit me.
I can knit you a
sweater.
cashmere
Whatever.
full length.
It's
whatever.
up to you.
I mean, these are all fine and good until they're returned on me. No, I'm just kidding. I would love it. I would love a homemade gift.
Oh, we got to go to the mom box though too.
We got to go to the mom box.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the best transition ever, right? Let's go to our mom box, and I don't mean our. Maybe I do mean, since we just talked to Mountie.
We meet new friends.
Don't come up with a name for an official person called a Mountie.
The Gary Bath. We've all got a Gary Bath in our life.
That's neat.
Yeah.
But I think
that really makes it feel more sentimental.
Shut up. I think this is really cool because I know that it takes a lot for a person to write something like this. So I'm reading it for that reason. It's not to be self-serving, but I think you're like schmooping into feelings, and so you'll love it. I read this the other night. Her name is Misha. I'm going to read this wrong. Who? Humaniuic.
Misha
I don't know.
H.
I like the name Misha so much. Okay, so she was talking about listening to the podcast. It's pretty straightforward, but I just think this is really sweet. I just listened to your Ride or Die Gal Pals podcast, and honestly, I needed it. I grew up constantly, 11 schools by 9th grade, constantly moving, so I never had the childhood friend. 2 months after marrying my husband, we moved to his hometown, and after 6 years here, I'm just now starting to find some mom friends in general, honestly. I really just jive with. Today has been such a shitty day because I'm 90% sure that my 4-year-old just straight hates me. She makes it well known, actually. So while I put the Christmas tree
very
up,
smart at age 4.
no,
by the way.
they're sadistic. So while I put the Christmas tree up by myself, infant and 2-year-old napping, 4-year-old in her room cooling down after fucking destroying everything in her path, I turned on you ladies because damn, I needed a gal pal. And although we've never met, I relate so hard. So although my husband can't tell if I'm crying because I'm laughing so hard or just because my heart hurts, you ladies made it better.
That is everything.
Do you love that?
Yeah.
And is that gross? Is that weird and self-serving? I don't want it to be. I'm trying to find the part where she's like, and you're really beautiful and
she didn't say
looking
that.
in your
Maybe she emailed later.
Let me find it. Let me find the other part. I'm trying to find the asterisk where she's like, plus when I look at Kristen's style, I'm really inspired.
I hate to total dork out, but that felt like a plate of cookies.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can all send like magical messages to people too.
I think this is the time to do it, man.
Yeah.
To like, hey, man, if you got a couple where you're just telling people that you don't like them, that's
I'll
what
do
we've
that
been,
too. But I'll even
that's
it out
easier,
with
but
some-
it's much harder to just reach out and be like, hey, man, for no reason at all, I thought of you, and I wanted to tell you I love you, and don't make a thing of it. And if you're me, I'm like, don't make a thing of it, or I'll punch you in the leg. Let's move on. But isn't that nice? I just think
That's amazing.
we get a lot of messages like that, and I feel we get more messages about how attractive we are, but I do feel like this one was like about the heart, so I just wanted to lean into that.
Yeah, we get a lot of messages about like,
fitness
what is your
inspiration and
workout routine?
what's your
It must
workout
be
routine?
grueling.
Yeah, like how do you guys make those chairs look so attractive?
Yeah, they almost look like child chairs.
What are you guys doing with your abdomen? We're like, we don't want to tell until somebody pays us.
No, they get it. They got it. They got it. Well, cheers,
Shit.
ladies. That's always our sign that the podcast is over. When wine that spills. Cheers, ladies.
We love you. Happy holidays. We're going to be talking about the holidays a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.